Adriana Amai, also known as the Skull Merchant. Adriana was born to a father named Seda, who was a talented artist who moved to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with hopes of seeing a different side of the world contrasted to his hometown. Growing up in a house filled with music and art, Adriana excelled in all facets of her education with an obsessive drive to be the best. This often gave her the receiving end of disciplinary actions from her overly competitive and sometimes violent nature during schoolyard games. During this time, her father also had an obsessive drive, a manga he was creating in his spare time known as Adi Valente, a young girl who saves and protects the weak with her quirky robot companion. This left only the mother to keep Adriana on the right track, but oftentimes Seda would manage any little time he had every night to share his wild imaginations to Adriana. She saw the manga her father was writing and absolutely loved it. By the time she was in middle school, she was selected to be part of a private school due to her high performance. Needing the money to fund her attendance, Seda spoke to publishers about his manuscripts, only finding success with a small local publisher to carry Adi Valente, which meant more work than he could handle. Working on this manga cost him his job at the cannery, which gave him more time to develop and illustrate his series, but it put the family into hard times. Later on, the publishing company went into administration, and as soon as Seda requested higher royalties, they instead decided to cut the series. No longer able to afford the school fees, Adriana was pulled out of the private school where she was at the top of her class, which made her furious. While there were negotiations about her graduation, another student was able to take her place at the head of the class. During summer break, she stalked her rival and wondered if there was a way to ruin his life by taking her place. But she instead did nothing, although something inside her had awakened, feeling like the anti-hero in a new story her father was working on. This one was based on his nightmares and visions he had, and puts them into this new darker manga. A woman who hunts and guts the weak in a nightmarish realm with drones made of salvaged skulls and bones. He was unable to sell the manga, and the family had to solely rely on Belinda's income. A while later, Adriana looked for ways to make her own money by starting a website dedicated to the world of Brazilian manga. This became a runaway success, and significant advertising money started rolling in. She convinced other kids to write for the website for free since she had no interest in writing for it, only to sell the website the second she got an offer and never looked back. When she tried to show her parents the check she never got to show her father, who walked out the door that morning and never returned, only leaving behind a stack of unpublished manuscripts about the Skull Merchant, who hunts those she deemed worthy of her efforts. Adriana studied in the library about investment and economics as a way to help her mother, which helped her triple the money she made. By the age of 18, she was already a self-made millionaire, which opened more doors of opportunity all throughout Brazil. She had enough money to buy small companies, gut them, and replace them with non-union workers, then sell them to make a profit, with the only breaks being her trying to understand the dark and chilling world her father created in his manuscripts. While she was regularly flipping companies in her mid-20s, two members of the board moved to block the sale of her real estate firm, pointing to the trail of hollowed-out husks she left in her wake. Frustrated, it took her weeks to find who was blocking the sale, and when she found out, she would stalk their every move. After she manipulated them into spending time in the Alps and attending a conference in Switzerland, she would track them with her prototype drone, inspired by the Skull Merchant. Using a two-bladed weapon, she brutally dismembered the two, giving her a rush of emotion and adrenaline. And so this new cycle started. Adriana would swoop in on a business, destroy anyone willing to stand in her way, and gut the company for maximum profit, mostly targeting companies with larger-than-life CEOs. Her latest target was an aggressive manager of a fireworks company known for his survival tours, which became a perfect cover for her. After luring the manager to a decommissioned airship hangar, the hunt began at dawn with her drone keeping track of her target. But a pair of kites suddenly appeared, making the drone lose its feed and crash down. There were witnesses, not part of the plan. Adriana rushed to where the drone crashed and saw the man reaching out for help by someone. Quickly, she plunged her blade into the man's stomach, exposing his dying heart. Then he collapsed onto the ground. The witness who tried to help the man sprinted away, with Adriana giving chase, her blades thirsting for more blood. While giving chase, she noticed the lush green forest started melting and change into a black fog, leaving a grin to creep up on her face as she charged into the entity's realm. I like to see this as Batman, who got tired of living by his no-killing code and just decided to hunt down every villain that plagued his business. Adriana's ability, known as Eyes in the Sky, allows her to summon her drones around the map, giving her map control abilities like Evan and Taros. She can deploy up to 6 drones around the map that scan the area, looking for survivors. Once a survivor gets detected by a drone, they are displayed on her radar for her to track and start filling up the locked-on meter. Once that meter is full, survivors that are locked on suffer from becoming injured, getting deep wound and broken status effects, and will receive a claw trap. The claw trap will make them hindered and trigger killer instinct for 3 seconds. In any state, survivors can attempt to hack the drones to disable them. Failing the hack, however, adds a stack on the locked-on meter. Adriana's perks allows her to make a survivor to be the obsession after hitting them with a basic attack and chasing them the longest, granting you haste for 10 seconds after damaging a generator or damaging either a breakable wall or pallet, reducing their healing speed by 30 to 50% after survivor unhooks the other, and make survivors scream and reveal their location for 3 to 5 seconds within 24 meters of you breaking a breakable wall or pallet, which consumes a token. Overall, I would put Skull Merchant on C tier. It's really just another killer that has basic map control that keeps track of targets all over the place. While that's not necessarily a bad thing, the main problem I have are the drones that people can just easily avoid, even if you put them near a generator. Same thing with Trapper. The only real use or activity from them is when you put them by the doors. Either way, the drones can't really do much when survivors don't even have to try to disable them. Thankfully though, we have another map control killer that is what I consider to be way better. Now that doesn't mean I hate the Skull Merchant. In fact, I wonder if she would make a great villain for Batman to fight. Maybe even partnering up with the Penguin. And then again, she'll end up killing him and take over his business, and then sell that too.